All right, so in this video, I just want to take you through setting up Pycharm for the first time, running and setting up your interpreter and all that good stuff that comes along with it, and then also show you how to install dependencies, specifically how to install Pygame through Pycharm. So you should go to JetBrains and install Pycharm. You also want to make sure that you already have your version of Python on your computer. So if you type into the search bar Python, you should be able to see what version you have installed. You can also look at actually where it is installed. Well, this is the shortcut location, but we can open the file location, and you can see that it's installed. It should be installed in the program files in Python. So this is actually our Python application, but you need to know where this path is, because you need to tell Pycharm where it can find the Python interpreter. Okay, so make sure you know that location. Then go ahead and download and install Pycharm. And once you go ahead and download that, you can go ahead and run it. Okay, so if you've run it before, it'll load up the workspace. But if you haven't run it before, it'll start with a window of whether or not you want to create a new project. And so the window looks something like this when you select a new project. And so you're going to want to do that. And then this is just where your files are being saved. So you can click on the folder and you can browse and select where exactly you want to create the folder. So I already have a folder selected, and I already have a project set up. Here you should probably have something, if you haven't set up your interpreter yet, you can either do a virtual environment one, and then I would suggest using the system interpreter. That way all your packages and dependencies, when you install them, are installed in that Python folder. And so what you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to browse for, so hit the little three dots and open up the existing interpreter window, hit system interpreter, and then from there, you're going to want to click the three dots again. And this opens up your file system. You can browse for C program files, and then Python, and then the Python exe, and you'll hit OK. And then once it's linked to this Python environment, you'll hit OK again. Now I already did this, so I'm not going to add it again. And you'll see that you have your Python interpreter there. And that's the one we're going to use for this workspace. And go ahead and create, and it'll generate this window that you see behind me. All right, so what do we got here? In this window, you'll have your project folder right here. We've got our external libraries, which is just linked to our source Python 3.7 as well. And so if you've other libraries you want to use, you can add them to that. All right, this can minimize and maximize just by clicking on this button here. What you're going to want to first do is right-click on your folder and create a new Python file, or if you're making a different type of file, like an HTML file, you can do that. Or if you want to organize things into directories or Python packages, you can do that. But we're just going to start with a basic Python file. I made one called Hello World, and just used it to print our basic Hello World. And to run in Python, to run Code and Pycharm, you'll need to right-click and then hit Run Hello World. Now, if this isn't showing up, make sure that you see the Python 3.7 down here. It should, if you set it up in the project correctly, it should set up. But you can go into interpreter settings, and you can add an interpreter through this little gear here and hit Add. Right. Okay, so what else do we want to do today? So I also wanted to show you in this video how to create a Pygame project, or just really import Pygame and make sure it's working. So I'm going to create a new Python file, and I'm just going to call this Pygame test. And to test the file, I'm just going to go ahead and import Pygame. And you'll see that when I type this in first and I try to run it, I get the error that no module named Pygame is installed. And so if we want to use an external library that is not included in Python, then we actually need to add it in somehow. So you could do this through terminal, through PowerShell, using pip. But Pycharm has a has a built-in one that we can use. So if you go into this interpreter settings, so all I did was click on the Python 3.7 at the bottom and click on the settings. It'll take you up to this window. Now I have a few libraries already installed. I have NumPy, SciPy. But what we can do is we can hit this little plus sign here, and then you can search through all of these different Python libraries that you can use. So we're gonna browse for Pygame here. You'll see there's a few different ones, but we're just gonna use the base package here, and we're just gonna hit install package. Now you will get a little bit of a pop-up that says it needs to admin privileges or whatnot to install. Once that finishes, it'll say Pygame installed successfully. So it installs it directly to our system library. And then you'll see that it pops up here. And when we hit OK, now the red underline went away, and I run the code again, and there's no error. And we can see this message, hello from the Pygame community, and that means everything looks good. Okay, so that's all for this video. Hopefully this was helpful, and happy coding.